Hey guys, we're here with my boy Tom, aka Zipper gi-oh. Definitely go check him out on YouTube and Twitch. Anyways, we're here with Tri-Brigade Fire King deck profile. You're a Tri-Brigade enthusiast.
Finally get to bust the Tri-Brigade cards back out. I've been waiting for something to play them with. I think it's Bird Up's kind of in a weird spot now, so I think it's nice to have something new to do with them.
Awesome. Well, definitely go check out his video on his channel for some combos as well. So anyways, yeah, let's get right to the list then.
So, start with 3 copies of Ponix, 3 copies of Sacred Garunix, 3 copies of Sacred Kirin. We have 1 copy each of Rangbali, Barong, and Arvada. I don't know if I love these ratios. I think Garunix could definitely go to 2. It's just like the hands where you open this plus a way to pop obviously do so much. It can help you extend super easily. I think this is like, if you need to find space for non-engine, you can cut one of these pretty easily. I'm just on 3 for now.
What about Arvada? Is that common at
Arvada?
this one?
Yeah, Arvada absolutely needs to be at 1. I think playing more than that isn't exactly helpful. It doesn't really do much by itself. It's a card that this is like the second best thing you'll search off Tanky. And you know, as such, I don't think it's like super necessary to play more than 1. Of course you can if you think it's worth it, but I really don't. Just for the Fire King back row, we have 2 copies each of Sanctuary and Island. I think Island can maybe be one to go to 1 copy. The second Island is in here because I think Tier Elements is such a threat and they can just mill 9 off the top of your deck so easily. You definitely want to have a second copy of this just to have access to it. And 1 copy each of Skyburn and Circle. These are going to be like your second and third choices off of Ponix. Circle is a really nice way to kind of OTK super easily. It also helps you extend into a lot of hands, and Skyburn is a board breaker. It is just this is probably the second best card. This is what you're going to search if you have like Sanctuary Ponix. This is what you're going to grab. This card is so crazy. Skyburn is such a ridiculous card. Helps with board breaking so much. You'll grab it going first. It's an extra piece of interruption. It triggers your Xyz monster. This card just does so much for the deck. That does it for the Fire King section. Just grab all of these out the way. Now just for the Tri-Brigades, we're on 3 copies of Fractal, 3 copies of Kit. We're on 2 copies of Nerval and 2 copies of Karos. This is slightly different from a lot of other Tri-Brigade decks would play like 3 Nerval, 2 Kit. Instead, we're playing 3 Kit just because this is a fire, and this is a monster you can actually pop out of deck with the Sacred Garunix. So this can pop any fire tri-type from deck, including Kit. So if you have, for example, if you open like Garunix plus Ponix, now you can pop Kit, find a way to search into a Karos, and then go through Tri-Brigade combos that way. It's an extra way to access it. As well, Kit's also a monster you can pop off of Kirin to like summon itself, and we also of course have the 1 Revolt. I'll throw the 3 Tanky in here as well. I think these are essentially Tri-Brigade cards. This is like Fractal is going to be your first grab most of the time, and unless you're like, I think in some specific matchups, there's some sort of situations where you would grab like one of these 3, one of the Rangbali or the Arvada. You'll never grab Barone, but one of those, you know, Fractal's probably your chief pick, so I would almost consider this part of the Tri stuff. But other than that, Fractal, like you're maxing out on your fire ones because they're the ones that if they're popped, like Fractal, you can pop in a pinch with Island if you have like nothing else to go into. You can pop that to summon out like a Garunix and then start doing some of the Fire King stuff from there. And the thing I really like about this deck as well is Tri-Brigade typically is very all-in what they do. The Fire King cards give them so much grind game, so you can actually play past turn 1. Like one thing I didn't love about playing Bird Up before is that you kind of run out of gas after your first turn. Like you finish your first turn with like 6 cards in your extra deck and you kind of look at it turn 3, you're like, I can make Zeus and hope that's enough to win the game. So this deck can at least go a lot longer than a lot of other variants. So I'm just going to quickly get these out the way as well. That's it for the Tri-Brigade. Now just onto the non-engine. This deck doesn't have too many non-engine slots, which is kind of something I'm really enjoying about it, is I'm only playing 9 non-engine. We're playing 3 Ash, 3 Nib, and 3 Imperm. Excuse the commons and supers for these. I didn't want to slave up my secrets for everything. So I'm just only playing the 9, and like I said, you kind of have some options of like other ways to find non-engine slots. Like you can cut an Island, you can cut like a Garunix. Like this is maybe 2 more slots if you want to try and fit in like, I don't know, 2 copies of Talents, if you want to fit in like some thrust options. I don't think Imperm's mandatory. I think there's other cards you can play instead of Imperm. Mine are in my side. I'll talk about those in a second. But I think that's just it for, it's pretty standard. I don't think there's like, maybe there's a world where you like cut one of the Nibs and you cut those the Island and the Garunix, and then you think about like, I don't know, playing 3 Droll. Speaking of Droll, we'll hop into the side deck as well quickly before I do the extra. We have 3 copies of Droll, 3 copies of Forbidden Droplet, 3 copies of Enemy Controller, 3 copies of Cosmic Cyclone, and 3 copies of There Can Be Only One. So this deck can play Teekboo really easily. Your typical M board off of like most of your combos is going to be double Dragon Lords, the Garunix level 8, the Appaloosa with the Kirin in hand, and you're going to rank up into the Hyang Garunix, which is like the rank 8. All of those are different types, so Teekboo doesn't hurt your M board at all. You can play under it quite easily. You're not like punished that hard. The only thing you can't really do is like make Shiraig while you have the level 8 Garunix on board, so you have to be a little bit careful with it, but it's definitely very easy to play under Teekboo in this deck. That does it for the side. It's super simple. This is a little bit of a day one build. There's definitely some other stuff to consider. I think this deck really struggles with tier limits, so I think having some answers to that in the side would be nice. I was considering playing 3 droplet in the main over the imperms. I think these are so good in the deck just because you can send kit and start like all of your combos with like droplet send kit. That's really nice. It's good going second. It's a board breaker, which the deck can kind of do itself already, but it's not. Giving it that little extra bit of help can help a lot. I would probably look to put like DD Crow in here because it is, of course, it's a hand trap, it's a tri-type. It's also level 1, so it's searchable off of Shiraig. If you go through Shiraig in your turn 1 combo, you have a lot of ways to search it. And I think that does it for the side. But there's definitely a lot of options because it is such a wide format. I tried to just put as many like generically good cards that you'd consider into a lot of decks in here, just to kind of keep the side pretty standard. And now, for the extra, we have the 1 copy of Almirage, 1 copy of Farragut, 1 copy of Bearbrum, 1 copy of Double Dragon Lords. So these are the only like Link 2s you're going to be going into with the Tri-Brigade stuff. Because of the Fire King cards, they're taking up a fair bit of extra deck space, and they're kind of varying the extra deck away from typical Tri-Brigade stuff. If you want to play super budget, you can play a second Farragut instead of some of the other stuff, but I'd like to find room for something like a Hracevelgr, the Desperate Doom Eagle. I think that card is so good. That card is ridiculous. It also lets you play Featherstorm in the side and like thrusts for that. Disgusting what you can do with that card, but for now I'm just on these 3 for the Link 2s. We're also on IP and SP. IP, I'm not super sold on IP yet. I mean, IP into SP is always like super nice. The only time you get locked out of making IP is when you have used Bearbrum's effect to like search, but IP is just like a good generic Link 2. You're gonna go into this pretty often. You can very easily, even like through like 1 or 2 hand traps, you can still end on like IP and the Garunix on field to kind of make the rank 8 and then link that off into an SP Little Knight. We've also got 1 copy of Hida. Hida's really nice. Like I think with stuff like Rescue Ace in the format, with stuff like Unchained in the format, Hida's really, really nice as a way to link climb into the next one. We have Access Code Talker. Hida is like really nice into link climbing into this, gives you a lot of ways to kind of put extra bodies on the board. Again, just to make SP Little Knight. It's very low investment. I love this card. I think Hida's so good. We have the 1 Apo, that's part of your end board. You're going to be going to this pretty consistently, very often, and we have the 2 Shraigs as well. Absolutely want to be playing 2 of this. Anything, if you're playing like 1, I think you're throwing, this needs to be at 2. This card is so good. It's part of your end board with Revolt. It's going to be part of your follow-up. It searches follow-up. This card does so much. Shraig is just such a house of a card. Also, it's the best Tri-Brigade monster. I will not be taking questions. For Xyz, we have the 1 copy of Dweller. We have the Garunix Eternity, the rank 8. This is the only Fire Xyz we're playing. This is the only one we want to go into. And Dweller, of course. This deck has really easy rank 4 access with cards like Rang Bali and Barong. Providing, like, these 2 are free special summons. They're free special summons of 4s when a monster's popped. So you have lines that will, like, turbo you into Dweller, and then you can end on, like, Dweller Apo, or, like, Dweller, Revolt, DDL, stuff like that. You can add that as part of your end board, or you can even end on Dweller into Garunix Eternity. And then the last 2, we're playing Typhon and Zeus. Typhon, I'm a little contentious on Typhon. I know the card's really good. I just don't like it that much. I think there's maybe different things you could play in here. Like, this is another one I'd maybe consider as like a bit of a flex spot. I'm just on Typhon because there's like enough that it does in the format. I think that does it for the whole list.
Amazing. Well, thank you again for the deck profile.
Always my
again.
pleasure.
Check him out. I'll have all the links down below. Any last shout outs?
Shout out to Aurora. Aurora kind of was the one who, Aurora YGO, they put me onto playing, like some of the ratios were a lot of their idea. And I think, shout out Matthew Lynn, he's right there.
I'm Matthew Lynn. I am right there.
I think that's
match to get to.
Yeah, we know we have to go play out our last round with some Edison.
Awesome.
I think that does it.
Well, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye.